All right, we're approaching the ridge line here. Can't really see where the landing zone is yet, or if there is one. I'm gonna scoot over this ridge and take a look. I think this is it right in front of me. Yep. All right, well, I'm gonna fly over the top of it a couple of times and just kind of see what the sight picture looks like for landing up here. Pretty sporty. Definitely too bumpy to land today. Whew. That's it. Boy, oh boy, that's sporty. Definitely doable in the right conditions. So normally I'd be sharing an adventure or introducing someone who I find to be inspiring or interesting. But for this episode, I'm going to do something different. I wanted to answer a couple of questions that I've had more than a few people reach out to me about, kind of twofold. They wanted to know what modifications I'd done to my plane, which I took as sort of a general question of like what makes a bush plane a bush plane. My airplane, this airplane, the KAVU Cub, is a BackCountry Super Cubs SQ. Normally, airplanes used in off-airport or backcountry environments are a conventional gear, meaning they have a tail wheel as opposed to a nose wheel. They're also typically high wings, and both are desirable attributes because they offer clearance when landing in sort of rough strips or in places with no airstrips at all. Conventional gear keeps the tail low and allows for better clearance from rocks in the ground in general for the propeller. Tail low also, that geometry also makes it easier to brake hard. So if you're trying to stop super short, it keeps the airplane from having a propensity to want to end up on its nose or completely on its back. One of the most successful platforms ever used in backcountry aviation, probably over the past 75 years, is the Super Cub built by Piper. The Cub is a fabric-covered airplane, making it pretty light with a single pilot seat in the front, passenger behind. It differs perhaps from more common side-by-side seating because it puts the pilot over the center line of the airplane, and with a really narrow fuselage, it kind of creates the feeling like you're wearing the airplane. I find that I prefer controlling the airplane from the center line as opposed to one side or the other. Of course, side-by-side works great, and there are benefits to that, sitting next to your passenger. It's just a preference thing, and for me, I enjoy sitting on the center line. The Super Cub is an incredibly versatile sort of blue-collar plane, and it's still used by men and women to access areas that would normally take weeks to walk to, if walking was even possible. But human nature is what it is, and eventually pilots were tricking out their Cubs to try and make them perform better, and oftentimes what ended up being pretty high consequence terrain. So my airplane is a direct result of that effort to trick out the Cub platform. A really legendary dude in backcountry aviation named Wayne Mackey, he was partnered up with a friend Bruce Reed at BackCountry Super Cubs, and they began producing an experimental airplane modeled after the Cub, the Piper Cub. Bruce and Wayne, they stretched the fuselage, they redesigned the cowling to be more efficient and for an engine that was mounted lower and closer to the firewall, which helped with visibility at really high angles of attack. They built a wing with more span and more chord for obvious performance gains. They added the leading edge slats, which made flying extremely slow, both safer and more predictable. And basically rested it all on gear legs that were really extended for better clearance and takeoff performance. Hence, the SQ was born. For my mission, this airplane is ideal. Some of the things that make it ideal: the 35-inch Alaska bush wheels, for sure. They eat up the uneven and rough terrain. I run somewhere between 4 and 6 pounds in each one of the tires, and they absorb pretty much any rock or hole that I might find in tall grass. On those same lines, I actually installed the Acme Aero shocks, both for my mains and my tail wheel. The shocks are probably the single best upgrade, at least one of the best upgrades I've ever done to my plane. They help smooth out the roughest terrain I choose to land on and keep the airplane from bouncing off the ground while I'm landing and on takeoff rolls. Basically, if I bounce when I'm landing, I can't brake. If I can't brake, I might go long, and going long sometimes is not acceptable. In episode 1, I installed the leading edge slats with the help from Bruce and the guys from BackCountry. Having the slats allows airflow to stay attached to the top surface at really high angles of attack. It also changes the pitching moment of the wing, so essentially I'm able to fly slower and manage my energy for really short landings and early takeoffs. Having the ability to fly slower and safer shouldn't be a band-aid for lack of skill, but I would argue that having good equipment on top of good decision making can keep you safe in tough situations, and especially in places that are high consequence. If I'm coming into a no-go-around one-way strip, I want all the help I can get to make sure that I keep myself and the airplane safe. Another obvious truth is that after I land, I have to take back off. So right now, my airplane is powered by a 4-cylinder Lycoming. It's a hot-rodded 0320. I have 10-to-1 compression. I put an 80-inch Whirlwind prop on it, and the prop is ground adjustable. Ground adjustable props are great because you can set the pitch to be ideal, but they can only be ideal for either takeoff performance or for cruise speed, or for somewhere in between, but not for both. At sea level, this engine and prop combo pulls really hard, and the takeoff performance is quite good. I'm gonna actually pull this engine and prop off and put a new fuel-injected IO 375 on that'll increase my horsepower from 170 at best to about 220, along with a constant speed prop. The fixed pitch prop is ground adjustable, which is super cool, but the benefit of a constant speed prop is that I can adjust the prop governor for a particular RPM, and the blades will continually seek the best pitch to achieve that. So basically I get the best performance for short takeoffs and the ideal pitch for efficient cruise speeds. I'm also going to make the switch to Behringer wheels and brakes. Anyone in the aviation world who has been paying attention knows that the Behringer wheels, brakes, and masters are a weight savings, but also that they function pretty much better out of the box than anything else out there. I'm really excited to get this kit on my plane. If anybody's interested or has questions about Behringer products, I would recommend reaching out to Brian Bowen at Bowen Aero. Brian's a super straight shooter and has been really helpful to me. He's super knowledgeable about all the Behringer products and can answer questions and certainly get you sorted if you're interested. Having good brakes means that I'm able to stop when I need to, and clearly, along with the engine upgrade, this will add a lot of performance to this airplane. Another recent upgrade that I made, the Carbon Concepts belly pod. I can carry all kinds of bulky items like climbing gear and camping gear, my paraglider, or even surfboards, all in a place that's less consequential to weight and balance. It's just a smarter place to put the weight. The best thing about it on travel legs that have fuel stops further apart than I can fly with the 48 gallons that I carry in my wings, like flying to remote spots in Alaska or across sections of the Yukon, I can carry fuel bags in the pod, land on a riverbank or in a clearing and fuel up for the remainder of the way to the next fuel stop. Carrying fuel bags inside the airplane can be a bit harsh because of the smell of gas. And I don't really like the idea of having fuel behind me, in the low chance of a fire. So having them below me keeps the weight of the extra fuel in the most advantageous spot for weight and balance, and it increases my level of safety quite a bit, which is pretty cool. So guys, I'm gonna leave this one here. If you're enjoying these episodes, please stay tuned. I'll be sharing more adventures, and we'll definitely be sharing some of these big upgrades that I'm about to make on the plane. Until then, fly safe, stay busy living, and remember, fun has no seat.
I wanna take it by the hand, down through the sand, sweet love until the sunrise. Well, truth be told, you never know if you're all washed up, if you never grow. Or take a shot, or let them fly. Well, being young's just a state of mind, so hurry up and take your time, cause being young's just a state of mind. Every day we get closer, so give it what you got. Well, you only get one shot. And I'm not just gonna be putting low. By a broke down beat, I'ma get the song. I'm gonna take each moment as it comes, until I'm 6 feet underground. I wanna be young, I wanna play dumb, like when I was home late and said you never called, but the smoke in my head and my eyes gave it all away. Well, truth be told, you always let this slide. I love you for it, cause that's the reason why I'm the way that I am, and that's who I'm supposed to be, yeah. Well, being young is the closest thing to free, and every day we get closer to giving what you got. Well, you only get one shot.